The EU has just signed a new comprehensive air transport agreement with Israel in an effort to encourage European airlines to offer more direct flights between Europe and the Jewish state. According to the European Commission, the move reiterates Israel's importance to the EU with respect to the economic, trade and tourism sectors.
Israel is a key partner for Europe, so the signing now of an aviation agreement with Israel is an important step forward in terms of economic growth, in terms of business growth, in terms of tourism, more flights, better connections. It's good for both sides.
What was the position before the agreement and what difference will it make?
I mean, prior to this, the connections, the flights between Europe and Israel have been governed by bilateral agreements between member states, but not all member states. So 18 EU member states currently have agreements with Israel for flights. Now we will operate as a bloc, and the new agreement means that all EU carriers can fly direct flights into Israel from anywhere in the EU, and all Israeli carriers can fly to anywhere in the EU directly, which wasn't the case before. So it's an important step forward. It will also mean that over the next 5 years, as we move towards 2018, it's a progressive market opening. So now we will have minimum numbers of flights, for example, a minimum of 7 flights per week. That will increase gradually over the coming years. So you would expect to see, as I said, more flights, bringing with it more economic growth, more business, more tourism, and that's to the benefit of both sides.
Will it be trade or tourism which benefits most?
I think our experience in the past, if you look at, say, a country like Morocco, where we've seen very substantial increases in tourism, but it has also greatly helped business on both sides. So the potential is there for both business, tourism, and the economy overall to benefit.
Is there any downside? I mean, will we see increased security at airports or anything?
The benefit of the agreement means that Israel and Europe will now cooperate on many regulatory standards. On, for example, passenger rights, safety regulations, there will be a convergence. Israel will adopt a lot of the standards that the EU uses on those areas. Israel will have special provisions with regard to security, but overall, again, that makes life simpler for both sides operating flights between Israel and Europe, and it should be a step towards making flights easier and again simplifying life for people travelling.
A recent study by the European Commission estimated the agreement would constitute an additional €350 million in bilateral trade once fully operational. Europe currently represents 57% of all international air travel from Israel and, as such, is its most important aviation market. The EU hopes this agreement will further exploit what it sees as the Israeli market's strong growth potential.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that we're going to be liberalising transport arrangements with Israel. I'm in favour of liberalising in the economy anyway. I'm in favour of transport links. I'm particularly in favour in the case of Israel, which is a democratic country and an economically successful country, but in a very difficult environment. There is every reason why we should support Israel by putting in place these links, and it will benefit the European Union too. So, as I see it, it's a win-win situation all the way down the line.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that Israel's ambition is to achieve over 10 million tourists a year over the next decade. This is Colin Stevens for JN1 at the European Commission in Brussels.